there's an infinite amount of ways, obviously, that you can start a song. I mean, whatever you do that gets you inspired, that's the thing to run with. For me, it can be a different thing on a different day. Sometimes I come sit at the piano. Sometimes an artist that I'm working with will come in and say a lyric, and that will get us set off. And this is also a way that I love. I mean, this is how I started making music. This is the MPC 3000. It's this kind of classic sampler from the 90s. My heroes used it, Q-Tip, DJ Premier. It's a big part of the sound of 90s hip-hop, Gangstar, all of that stuff. In fact, DJ Premier, I've had this machine for 20 years, but DJ Premier, my hero, ended up signing this in 2019. Anyway, the great thing about this machine is it lets you chop up samples and arrange music on these different 16 pads, which gets you out of the normal way of thinking about music. You might just get inspired by the way you hit one sound like that. And as opposed to sitting down at the piano, when we sit down and we have certain chords that we always come to, whether they're the Hey Jude chords, No Woman, No Cry, there's certain chords that I always find myself coming back to, whereas when I use this machine, it can take me any which way. There's so many great sample packs that you can get online. If you have a favorite producer, one of the best things you can do is just Google their name, whether it's Just Blaze or Jamie XX, and look up sample pack, and you can get those drum sounds and the kicks and snares that you like. I mean, I do it all the time still, but I also do love the sound of taking a record off of the vinyl. It gets a certain characteristic and a grittiness that you can't really cheat it. So I thought that's maybe what we'd do. This, and there's plenty of great records like this, royalty-free breaks, like all these great drum breaks. When I was coming up, you know, you had to dig and dig for these rare drum breaks, and then you'd have to clear them for samples because they were these old records from the 60s and 70s. And now you have all these, you know, drummers around today who make these great records that sound like old break beats, and you can use them without worrying about clearing stuff. So let's take a listen. This just came in the mail, so I have no idea if this is any good or not, but okay. So listening to this drum break, and really when I'm listening through, I'm just listening for the sound of a snare or something that gets me excited. So you're going to hear a completely different thing. Sometimes even if I hear one that I like, it's good to just go to the end to listen through all of them, because there might be some gold sitting at the end. So, you know, you just want to make sure that you got the best sample. So that sounds, I like the sound of that kick and snare. So I'm just looking for a kick and a snare sound that's exciting. I have no idea what we're going to build, what the music's going to be like, but that's a kick and a snare that I know I can build a track out of. So just sample a bit of that. And this is kind of boring minutia, but you definitely always want to make sure that when you're sampling stuff in, that your record level is quite high, because otherwise you end up turning it up later and you'll have all this kind of hiss and noise. And also, you know, like I said before, you can get these great sounds and kicks and snares on sample packs. I just love the way that they sound coming off of the vinyl, and you can get plenty of great cheap record players around and get breaks like this if you do want to get that sort of legit old school. Okay, so we've sampled it in, and now we're gonna chop it up. It's like a cooking show for beats. So first I'm gonna take the little kick, get the heavy guy. That's our snare. I like to leave a little air on the end of the sample because that's what gives it that sort of weird feeling. You'll see when we start to construct the beat why that makes a difference. The last thing I need to chop is my hi-hat. And this is a great loop for that because you've got the hi-hat just free, like isolated without any other noise on it, which is what I'm always looking for. So now I've got the things that I wanted. I've got the little kick, the big one, snare. So when you have these sounds out, you can suddenly become your own drummer. So, and you can play any tempo now you want. And the difference of having this little kick that we were talking about that makes it nice and makes it feel a bit more like a real drummer is the difference. So if I just use the one kick sample, I go. But if I go, I've got that. Is a different feel then. So I like having that human feel. Just to show how you can take something that you already know and chop it up in different ways on this machine and really truly sort of turn it into something new. If you want to do that, I thought we could even take something off of a record that I already put out. I haven't listened to this record in 10 years and I made it here sitting in the studio, which I haven't been in for 15 years either, so it's wild. It's bringing back some memories. And if you are sampling from a turntable and you can, you have this pitch control, sometimes it's fun to play with the pitch control while you're sampling it in because it gives you a different idea, a different tone or texture. When we start to play with pitches, it sounds less like a real piano. And if you're going for something that's, a little bit more left field, or you want to try and create some sounds that maybe even you haven't heard before, it's good to play with this. So this was the original tempo. And now slowing it down, it gives it a totally different feel, and it's kind of already sparking in my mind a different idea for a beat and a syncopation and a pattern and something I might want to break and something I might want to build. So let's sample it there at that tempo. Okay. I'm gonna take that and chop it up into some pieces and put it on the pads and see what happens. And you start putting effects and reverbs on that and things like that, and you can really take it somewhere completely different.